So today we have with us Sidharth Ramkumar, who has secured rank 4 in the Civil Service Examination of 2023. This is a great feat, Sidharth, and I would like to congratulate you for this such a great success in this examination.
I started watching DNS for daily newspaper current affairs preparation.
So you might have seen my videos also.
I think economics.
Baswa sir. You have been our QIP student for almost 2 years back to back.
Yes. It was in my 2021 attempt that I actually started looking into the RAU'S monthly magazine, then QIP, and DNS also, because many people were following, so I was also following that. And that year I took 2 mains test series. One was QIP, and that year there was a mentor also. Sir was also very helpful, and the QIP was also very crisp, and it did help in mains preparation especially.
And we got to know from you that you did not even tell anybody that you are appearing for the exam this year.
Yes. They initially thought that the news was fake. They thought some other Sidharth Ramkumar, P K Sidharth Ramkumar, they thought it's highly unlikely that it could be another person. Yes.
So what made you choose Anthropology? And you have scored amazing marks this year in Anthropology. 326, oh my god.
And then RAU'S monthly current affairs magazine, Compass, I used to follow. Compass or the compilation? Something.
Prelims and mains compilation, right? Yeah.
So today we have with us Sidharth Ramkumar, who has secured rank 4 in the Civil Service Examination of 2023. This is a great feat, Sidharth, and I would like to congratulate you for this such a great success in this examination. How does it feel when you just heard the news, or when the news broke that you have secured 4th rank? How did it feel? What was the first reaction like? Did it sink in at that moment, or how did it feel actually?
Rank 4 was a little shocking. I was expecting somewhere around, in case I clear, I was expecting at max around 60 to 100 or 60 to 120. That also was difficult, but that was the maximum that I was expecting. But now it is slightly sunk.
You already are in service, and I think you have qualified this examination for 3 times previously.
3 times
previously, and this is your 4th time you have qualified this. So you come with a lot of experience of cracking this examination, I would say.
Yes,
so, how has been your journey for the preparation? Have you seen any lows in this preparation? For example, you got selection in almost last 4 attempts, but you might have had the thought that I did not get the rank which I desired, and things like that. So how did you cope up with that, or did you face such kind of problem at all in the first place?
So I graduated in architecture in 2019, and after that I started preparation in 2020 attempt. I got into Indian Post and Telecom Accounts and Finance Service. So that was through the reserve list. So that year when the result came, my name was not in the first list. So that was a little disappointing. Then I waited. After 3 months, the reserve list came. That was also we can't expect which service will be allocated into. So that time was a little difficult, but then after the result, the prelims was almost immediately. Okay. Then I prepared for the prelims, then this result came, mains, then interview. Then that year I got into IPS.
Okay.
Then I again wrote, result came, again prelims, again mains, again interview. Again result came 121. So last year's, because there was no change in service, there was a slight disappointment.
Okay.
Then I joined back in my IPS training in Hyderabad. Okay. But training was very good. Again, I took leave.
Okay.
I joined and then I took leave. Then again wrote prelims, mains. After mains, again joined back.
So it became like a semester exam for you, right? So every year
it became like an annual pilgrimage.
The same drill, prelims, mains, interview. The process continues and goes on and on. Okay, you are from architecture background, and we do not see many students coming for the civil service preparation with such kind of background. It's a very unique case that I have seen myself. And mostly students, they come from engineering background or humanities or things like that.
Medical.
So when did this first thought of becoming an IAS officer come to you, that I should approach, I should try this field? When did you think of that?
It was in my final year. I was looking into what I should be doing after graduation. I was interested in urban development and a little more wider scope type of work. And then I came to, somehow I came across civil services. Even though I didn't know about it, I didn't know how to go about it, or I was not sure whether I should actually take this path. And then through mostly my preparation, my inspiration, everything happened from the internet only.
Okay.
And 2020 was a time of COVID. So again, there was
Okay.
nothing, almost everything was happening online. So
And I think you started watching DNS also at that time.
I started watching DNS for daily newspaper, current affairs preparation.
So you might have seen my videos also.
Yes.
That's great.
Who was your favorite DNS content, like educator?
I think economics.
Baswa sir.
Baswa sir.
Everybody's favorite.
Yeah.
Even our favorite.
Yes, his favorite. His
That's
favorite in
great.
our team also.
Yes.
So like I would, there was no background in the family for UPSC.
No.
No, like you suomoto developed it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and like what I wanted to understand that Siddharth, you were already in IPS. So
Yeah.
why IAS? Like why this craving for IPS? Like after such a long period of preparation, then
And even after
what
getting
ca-
successful in 2-3 attempts.
what was the drive to prepare again for IAS?
Sir, initially I had all three services, IAS, IPS and IFS in mind. I had interest in all three in different ways. So even now I do have interest, but then just that I feel IAS has a more diverse platform. And coming from planning architecture background, even there the whole idea was to have diversity in terms of working, in terms of the scope of work. So that was one of the major reasons. And then secondly, even in terms of working in urban development, the smart cities and all that, I feel IAS might be a little more in tune with architecture, planning and all that, if at all. But I did have interest, even still I have interest in some aspects of policing, even in diplomacy. So civil services in general was a fascination after college, and but IAS slightly more.
Okay, and now say if you have become an IAS, the aspiration is fulfilled. So where exactly you would want to contribute as an IAS officer? Is there anything in mind?
So not specifically, but I did think about if at all I can work in education and urban development,
Those are the areas where you
infrastructure.
want to- Okay, fine.
So Siddharth, you have been a QIP student for
Yes.
almost 2 years back to back.
Yes.
And I think you have been in touch with most of the teachers who have been teaching in the QIP. How was your experience and how it contributed in your preparation as per se? Like you might have gone through the videos, some of the classes, some of the material. How did it help you in this preparation?
So in my 2020 attempt, it was in my 2021 attempt that I actually started looking into the RAU'S monthly magazine, then QIP, and DNS also, because many people were following, so I was also following that. And that year I took two mains test series. One was QIP, and that year there was a mentor also. Sir was also very helpful, and the QIP was also very crisp, and it did help in mains preparation especially. And in the next year also I did take the QIP, but then time was very less, so somehow it did help.
You just went through the slides. You might have not
right.
seen the classes
Right.
first because you had already watched the videos
Right.
last year. That's great. And we got to know from you that you did not even tell anybody that you are appearing for the exam this year.
Yes, sir.
So why such a top secret for this year's attempt?
Like last year, so I was not very sure that I'll give the prelims. After result, there was about 5 days or 7 days, if I'm not wrong. So I didn't confirm whether I'll do it till the last day. Then I gave the prelims. Then CSAT was slightly difficult. I checked 3 keys. I found that I'll not be clearing. And then I thought I'll leave it there. And then after that, I did clear CSAT. And then I thought, okay, and I didn't want to increase the expectations.
Okay.
And my parents, everyone were already happy. They were
They were
already
already
happy
in the
that I was
service.
in the Indian Police Service. And I was also initially happy, but then I wanted to this thing. So then I thought, if at all I clear mains, then I'll say. And after mains, I thought I'll just keep it low key, see how it goes. Then I was busy with the preparation here. I came to Hyderabad Police Academy training and all that. Then after interview, I gave from here.
Okay.
And somehow it.
What is the reaction when they came to know?
They initially thought that the news was fake. They thought some other Sidharth, then Sidharth Ramkumar, P K Sidharth Ramkumar, they thought it's highly unlikely that it could be another person.
They were really like.
They were actually shocked. My father and brother started getting calls, but then they were slightly. They thought it was fake. And then I did call them and told them I did right and I think it is my name.
Oh, that's great. That's such an amazing feeling to have for parents also.
In hindsight, since it worked very well.
It's a different feeling altogether. Nobody was having any kind of expectation or.
Correct.
And once you see the child getting successful after 6 years, what the service he desired after
4
so
years.
much big period of time, you would like totally sort of want.
Yes, sir.
So Siddharth, you have appeared in almost 4, 5, or 6 attempts, and you have qualified it in 4 attempts. Many of the students, they prepare and they do not get through the examination ultimately. So, how do you think this preparation changes you as a person? What's your take on that?
Sir, I do think it changes you as a person, especially for people like me who, like I was not very well updated in current affairs, not coming from any humanities background as such. But then at my home, so there was an environment of like discussion and all that. My brother is an advocate in the Kerala High Court.
Okay.
My father also is slightly updated on things.
Okay.
But then I was not entirely like particularly interested in these things till my graduation is complete. After graduation in 2019, so then I started preparation in full swing, and then it was really interesting. Like they say, knowledge is power. The fact that you actually come to understand many things that are very general, but then you didn't know or it was not important to you, and suddenly you have an idea about almost everything.
Yeah.
Not that you have a great amount of depth on everything, but still you are aware at least about most of the things. In that way, it did change. And luckily for me, I feel from 2020 itself, even though in that attempt it was not in the first list, so I was getting service every year.
Okay.
So because of that, at least I was not that. I didn't
That
see that
stress.
kind of a low.
Yeah.
So
You chose anthropology, which has no relation with architecture.
yes.
So, what made you choose anthropology? And you have scored amazing marks this year in anthropology. What did you change in this year in your anthropology preparation? If you can speak about it.
So anthropology. So after this thing, architecture was not available as an option. So then I tried to see which papers are scoring well, which papers have limited material, marks are higher, and there are people whom I can contact if any. And then I zeroed in on socio-anthro. Like usually these are the papers people prefer, PSIR. And then I looked into the syllabus. And then I somehow came to know that in anthro you can use figurative representation a little more, maybe improvise a lot more. Like everything comes under anthro. Like you can use a lot of content in anthro. So in that way, I thought probably because again in architecture also it is about representing differently, like having unique content, making it look different. So somehow I thought and the content was also less. That is what I came to know. And then I thought once I've decided, I'll stick to it. And it was interesting.
Paid off, I think.
It was paid off in hindsight.
And what did you change this year?
326.
326. Oh my god, that's
Changes that
great.
you brought in this year.
So 326 is an amazing score for any option.
I think one of the highest this year.
This year.
Yeah.
Sir, I don't know what actually worked. So in my first attempt, like in 2020 attempt, that was my first serious attempt. There I got 281. I had prepared from Delhi, but I didn't. I mean that was not my best attempt as per like preparation. And the next attempt I prepared more. I got 268. Then I prepared again more, and then I got 260.
Oh, it was reducing.
It was reducing, and finally this time 326. So 66.
This time I think you prepared.
This time also I prepared equally well, but then somehow this time it worked.
Oh, great.
And so somehow what I felt is like my paper 2 generally works every time.
Okay.
3 out of the 4 attempts I've gotten around 115 paper 2.
Oh, great.
And in GS also, GS2, GS4 are usually where I score more. 120 plus usually. So and I like to add current thinkers. And everyone does that, but somehow like the interest is also more in that end. And this time paper 1 also clicked.
Okay.
So just that this time everything fell in place. So I think there's a lot of luck also in place.
So all the stars aligned for you.
Somehow.
So what is the importance of answer writing? Also, the focus should be more on answer writing or content building. What is the balance that students should maintain? Like a lot of students focus more on answer writing. Some says कि content पे focus करो पढ़ते रहो. So like what is the balance that we should anticipate?
Sir, again, I think it's very subjective, and it also depends on how much confidence or how much clarity you have on that. Like for the first attempt or first serious attempt, I think you should definitely go for answer writing, be it GS, be it SA, be it Anthro, optional, because you also have to know whether this will work, whether how to structure the answer, whether if you do it this way it will work. And after one proper mains attempt, and if you clear it, and if you get to know that it works, then probably in the second attempt or third attempt, probably if you don't have time, answer writing can be reduced a little bit. Depending on it, it is always a trade-off. Whether you want to improve your content or you want to focus on answer writing. For me, luckily, the issue of time management was not a big issue. So I didn't have to focus on answer writing. And there's always a hindsight bias. It worked, so I'm saying. But then for me, at least in second, third, and the second, fourth attempt, it worked because time management was okay for me. So I focus more on content building and less on answer writing.
And what do you feel? What is the relevance of current affairs, and how should we, like students, sort of organically integrate in their study plan, sort of make it more relevant for them?
Current affairs, I feel, is very, very important in all phases of this exam. Prelims, I feel, is becoming more and more random. And unless you have a good grasp in current affairs, you'll not be able to eliminate. That's what I feel personally. And also because there is always some context in every question. And in mains also, the point of current affairs is that your answer will be updated. So if everyone is writing the same answer, chances are that you will get either average or less marks. So it is better to be updated. And why take a chance if a question comes upon that? Even though mains is a little more predictable, I think being updated helps.
So like, how did you update yourself? What is?
So I focused on one or two newspapers, mostly one, Express or Hindu. And then RAU'S monthly current affairs magazine, Compass. I used to follow Compass or the compilation. Something.
Prelims and mains compilation, right? Yeah.
That I did in 21, 22. Then current affairs. Then I used to follow a lot of current affairs in my mobile, like so topic wise. Like for GS2. So GS2 I found Hindu was good, Constitution, Society, but GS3 generally Express I used to follow a little more. Explained is excellent. Then it's not every time, so it is there were many days when I would not read paper or that because it is difficult to be consistent. But then I used to follow Business Line and Financial Express something occasionally, so that, and especially when I'm building some content. So first I'll build content, then be aware of the major things that are happening.
And like, did you like make notes? Or sort of like
I used to make like Word this thing or like online OneNote or Word
even for options, right?
For optional also.
So what is your suggestion, or what is the word for the people who are appealing for the prelims this year? Because they might be stressed and you might be wanting to give them some confidence and motivation. So
I think first and most important thing about this exam is that you'll have to accept that it is very random. There is a lot of randomness involved in the exam. You have to accept that there is the competition is also huge. The numbers are huge, and even I personally know hundreds of people who are much better than me who are not cleared. So it is not about the competence per se. You should accept that there is a lot of randomness. The day becomes important. That paper, that particular question. But then preparation wise, I think for prelims at least, focusing on the static part. Ensure that you are in the average this thing, and then comes the real this thing. So I think economy, polity, and a little bit of history. Those are very important because at least whatever everyone else is doing correct, you should get it correct. And then comes the current affairs or the subjective ones. There you'll have to again attempt at least. Again, that is subjective. This thing is 80, 85.
See, this year the cutoff was only 75 marks.
75.
So which comes around only 38 questions correctly. Right? So if somebody has done polity, economy, history well, and geography also, so they will be very close to the cutoff.
Correct.
And the problem is people tend to focus more on current affairs and give these static books like Lakshmikant, the Spectrum a backseat. I think that becomes a bit problematic.
Static is very important because at least 20 questions you can be sure. Even getting 20 in the first round is very important nowadays. After that, probably like current affairs, I think following any one this thing is enough. It is important to limit. It is important to be aware and use that. For example, there was this question I think last year, a question on some fund, and then I didn't know any of the options, but I knew that IMF was in news. It was saving Sri Lanka and all that. So the relative significance of the this thing is more important. If you are following the news and you know that Sri Lanka was in news, IMF was in news, probably that will help you in eliminating. So I think it is important more important to be aware about the context and less about the individual facts. Like there'll be millions of things in the news. It's
Yes.
impossible to
Remember everything.
remember everything.
Because that becomes a tendency for students. They always come up with this query, sir, I'm not able to recall what I have studied. And it is not possible.
It is not
With the
possible.
kind of syllabus that you have in UPSC, you'll not be able to recall every word or every line that you've studied.
Right.
You just have a bigger picture that is created once you go through a topic or any subject per se.
And also, I think it is also important to approach the exam in a very positive
Manner.
Like
That
you
is
should
very
actually face it like whatever comes your way, you should be able to. You shouldn't try to think whether I have studied this or not. Even if you've not studied that thing, you should use your logic and all that. And the thing should be that you should clear the exam somehow.
I think we have to play it like a game.
There's a lot of mind play.
Yeah.
Mindset is very important in the exam.
So Sidharth, you have been going through the training for the Indian Police Services (IPS), and there is a lot of physical activity involved in the IPS training. So, do you think that has helped you in being mentally more strong, and the kind of training that you go through in the police academy? Has it helped you being mentally more strong, or has it changed you in any manner?
So definitely, training here in the Indian Police Academy is entirely different from anything that I've done in my entire life. Like I've always been slightly a casual, lazy person, and I did my graduation also in architecture. And there also you'll not do anything till your final project. You'll do it 1 day, 2 days before, like night out, and then complete it. So here every day, like 1 minute and all never mattered in my life. Here there's a falling at 5:35. If you are late by 1 minute, it is different. And there's a lot of outdoor, there's a lot of indoor also. And the kind of training, kind of infrastructure, kind of faculty, even the kind of peers that I've seen here, like they are much better than me. I've always, like on a daily basis, I feel training definitely helps. And the outdoor training per se also helps to like mentally be fresh, and also like you be aware of very specialized things, and then it gives you a lot of confidence, a lot of exposure. So it does help.
How did you sort of recreate yourself? Recreation.
What was the way in which you recreated during preparation when you had some, like, some people play sports, some people watch movies, TV series, sitcoms. So what was your thing?
I used to play cricket. Cricket I've been playing school, captain, college also.
Oh, nice.
And here also NP also we play cricket with the NPA teams.
Oh, nice.
Every Sunday we play. Cricket is there. Then I watch a lot of movies. Even during prelims and mains, like first day or night, whenever I get exhausted, 11 o'clock I'll go for a movie.
Great.
Nice.
Sometimes I'll think I'm wasting time, so I'll.
So it was not all studies, right?
No. But sometimes I feel you can use that also. Like I still remember there was Oppenheimer which released in between this prelims and mains, if I'm not wrong. And then I used to think I want to watch the movie, and if I can use that somewhere, probably in SE or ethics, at least there's mental satisfaction that I'm not wasting time entirely. And then adding a little flavor in the SE and ethics also helps.
It actually works.
It helps. In interview also. So this time interview also, because I have architecture background, and there is cricket, architecture, Kerala and police. So all these are very interesting for anyone
to ask questions.
So I did build some interesting content. Because generally you have to impress. So and interesting content always helps.
How was the interview? Like, if you can recall some good high points of the interview.
Interview went well. So the last question was very interesting. I think the next day was World Women's Day, International Women's Day. So they asked me 10 women who inspired me. So I told about the Indian cricketers from the Indian women's team. Then I told about Aruna Sundararajan ma'am, then Kiran Bedi ma'am, Nirubama ma'am, and some other. And then I also, in fact, I even quoted our indoor deputy director in NPA. And I ended with my mother. So at least that felt good personally. And there were some other questions also. There were questions on architecture. So I took the example of Laurie Baker, Center for Development Studies and all that.
We were discussing this.
I like it every time, so I use it mostly. If I get an opportunity, I do. So architecture also went well. They asked me to like architecturally analyze that particular room, green architecture and all that. So all that went well, I feel, and I got about 185.
Yeah, nice.
So I think it was a great discussion with Sidharth, and we've got a lot of insights into how he has prepared and how his journey has been. Thank you so much, Sidharth, for such a great and inspiring discussion related to his success.
Thank you.
Congratulating you once again for this great success. I think you'll do wonders in the service. Thank you.
Thank you.